There's been a lot of coverage over the last couple of weeks on the case out of Frisco, Texas, involving 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony and 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, who sadly lost his life at a track meet that afternoon that occurred on April 2nd. And I remember this day well because that was the day that I lost my job. I heard about the story. It wasn't receiving a lot of media coverage at first, but a couple days later, the media coverage continued to grow and grow, and now everyone online seems to be covering this story. There's a division. You have people who say that it was self defense, you have others who say that it was not. So I'm here to give you my opinion. Please keep in mind that we do not have all of the facts, so whichever side you may be on, whatever it is that you believe, just know that we do not have all of the facts. Everything has not come out yet. There has not been a trial at all. And in this country, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So you have a lot of people online, such as Megan Kelly, who I think is a mean girl, Matt Walsh, and Nancy Grace, who are completely against Carmelo Anthony and who have done a lot to tarnish the image of this teenager and do the opposite for Austin Metcalf, who lost his life. And there are also black YouTubers such as Melanie King, who is against Carmelo Anthony, Anton Daniels, a lot of people. So Texas is a stand your ground state, which means that if you feel as though you're in danger or that you're being threatened, you have a right to stand your ground. You're not required by law to flee. And please keep in mind that we do not have all of the facts. And there's even video footage that has yet to be released. But the media has made this story into a racial and political story, unfortunately. And I was hoping that it would not get to that point, but sure enough, it has. And here we are now, divided. Carmelo Anthony was a model student. He has a 3.7 GPA. He saved a child from drowning a couple years ago. And Austin Metcalf is also an honor roll student who plays on the football team. Both he and his twin brother do. I don't know of any previous history of Austin and his brother being in any kind of trouble, but the same applies to Carmelo Anthony. There's nothing that I know of or that I've heard of where he was considered a troublemaker or out to do what he did that day. So we know the story. It was a rainy day in Frisco, Texas, which is a pretty well off area, I've heard. I'm in San Antonio right now, so it's about 4 to 5 hours from where I live. So I don't know the area well at all, but I've heard different things about it and how things are up there. But the media made it sound that Austin and his brother approached Carmelo Anthony, telling him that he was not authorized to sit under the opposing team's tent. And I'm wondering, these guys, these kids, they played football. What were they doing at a track meet? And was that their school that they were meeting at? And Carmelo Anthony did run track, so maybe he was competing that day. I'm not sure. But the video footage that they do have will definitely reveal more of the details. But my theory is, and you may disagree with me on this, I think that Carmelo Anthony, just from his track record of being a good student, never being in any kind of trouble, being a model student, coming from a great family, that he was not there to start trouble. However, these other two, Austin and his brother, decided to place hands on Carmelo Anthony. There's even a rumor going around, which may or may not be true, that he broke his cell phone too. That Austin did, or maybe his brother did. But there were hands placed on him. And I know some of you might say, well, if someone hits you, you shouldn't come at them with a knife or attack them with a knife. If anything, you should also physically use your fist or your legs to kick them. But we've always been told to keep our hands to ourselves at an early age. Based on what I've heard, Austin did not do that, and he placed hands on Carmelo Anthony. Both he and his brother. I don't think it would have been one on one. I think Carmelo Anthony felt threatened by the two of them. They said that they did not know each other. I don't know if they had seen each other previously, but it was a rainy day. It seems like Carmelo Anthony was under the opposing team's tent because it was raining and he was trying to stay dry. And even at these events, such as track meets, different schools, kids have friends from other schools that they intermingle with. Maybe he was doing that too. I don't think that's so bad. And I'm not aware of any school policy that says that you're not allowed to sit under the opposing team's tent during sporting events. But I think the reason why he used his knife and stabbed Austin Metcalf, which eventually took his life, unfortunately. I feel bad for his family. They lost one of their sons. But it was because hands were placed on him and he felt threatened. We don't have all of the facts, so we're not 100% positive that that is what occurred. And there are other witnesses there who are minors who have not been allowed to speak out about this and who are told not to engage with anyone on social media or anyone in the public about this. If Austin and his brother had issue with Carmelo Anthony sitting under the other school's tent, and I don't know if this was their school, but if they had issue with that, they could have said something to him, asking him or just telling him, "Hey, you're not allowed to sit here. This is our school's tent." And if Carmelo Anthony refused to move, or if he said something to them, they could have easily had gone to one of the coaches or an adult to have them handle the situation. And this whole thing could have been prevented. Some people say that Carmelo Anthony could have walked away. But if two people are allegedly threatening you and placing hands on you, you feel like there's no way out unless you defend yourself. Kyle Rittenhouse, he was found not guilty. And the judge was also defending him too, which was utterly absurd. He got off. He should not have been out there that night. It was on a straw man's gun purchase. That's how he got the gun. He obtained that gun illegally and went across states and decided to use his gun on those individuals. And he claimed it was self-defense. George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. George Zimmerman claimed that it was self-defense. Trayvon Martin was unarmed. But George Zimmerman took his life. He didn't have to take his life like he did that day. And he wasn't a threat. He wasn't causing trouble or anything. But once again, he was found not guilty. They raised money for him. I believe he released books as well. And Kyle Rittenhouse, people like him, they're being hailed heroes for what they did. And more recently, Daniel Penny. He was found not guilty, even though he took the life of Jordan Neely on the train that day, who did not place hands on anyone. He didn't hit anyone. He may have made some threats, and he had, a lot going on. He was mentally unstable. If anything, he should have subdued him and waited until everyone was off the train and he could turn Jordan Neely over to the police or over to someone who could have helped him. I don't see where it was necessary for anyone to die that day either. But early on, Austin's father spoke publicly about everything. I heard there were some issues involving SA against him as well. I know that has nothing to do with this case, but it's really unfortunate that he had to lose his life like this. I don't know if he was a bully or if he was a troublemaker. I really don't know. So, what I'm trying to say is that we don't have all of the facts yet. As time goes on, once the trial actually starts, more is going to come out. So, to make this political or racial, and these are kids that are involved in this, I don't think that's right to do that. Originally, Carmelo Anthony's bond was set for $1 million. Can you believe that? That's quite a lot, I would say. I believe that Daniel Penny and Kyle Rittenhouse, and maybe George Zimmerman, if he was arrested, their bonds were set much lower than that. But Judge Angela Tucker out of Texas, she is a federal judge who is conservative. She's a Republican. She was able to reduce Carmelo Anthony's bond to $250,000, and he was released just a couple days ago. That had a lot to do with the fact that he doesn't pose a threat to society, and they evidently know more than we know about this case. If they felt that he was a danger to society, he would still be in jail right now. So I watched the press conference earlier this afternoon. I listened to it. Their spokesperson, I believe he's a minister or a pastor as well, spoke for a while, and his mother also, Carmelo Anthony's mother. So the family has been getting threats, which is wrong. Mysterious packages have been delivered to their homes. I heard that the GoFundMe that was set up for them was actually fake, that it was not real. But now they're on a website called, oh my gosh, I think it's called Give, Send, Go, that they're now accepting donations. Because he's going to need a good defense. He already has a pretty good lawyer who spoke a couple days ago when he was released. But for people to threaten his family like that is wrong. There are kids involved. His sister, I heard, is afraid to sleep at night because she's afraid. She's in fear of for her life. And there have been people speaking out saying that, well, they just bought a new house, a new big Cadillac SUV, an Escalade. Well, first of all, the mother clarified that at the press conference today and said that they have not spent any of the funds that were donated to them and that this is their own money. I think his father, Carmelo's father, is a doctor, I believe. They're pretty well off, especially living in Frisco, Texas. But I don't blame them for moving. If your family is being threatened in their own home, receiving death threats, and your kids do not feel safe, yes, you'll need to move, even if it's on a temporary basis. You'd need to change a lot of things, your vehicle, your hairstyle, or what have you, to be safe. So I don't have a problem with that at all. A lot of people are saying that the family is wasting the money that was donated to them. I don't think that's true. So I also found out about 3 other cases that are going on right now. One of them is involving someone named Nikita Kasap. That's CASAP. Another one is Cody Balmer. That's BALMER. Cody with a C. And Caden Allison. That's Caden with a K, Allison with 2 L's. And I heard that these cases are similar to what's going on now. The point of this video that I'm making is that we do not know all the facts, and it's wrong to make something like this racial when it doesn't have to be, when it's involving kids. I've even heard people say, well, those of you who voted for Trump, yes, I did vote for Trump. This has nothing to do with Trump being in office, because things like this continue to happen regardless of whether it's a Democrat or a Republican in office. It doesn't matter. All we know is that there's a problem in this country that needs to be fixed. And with the way things are going, As much as it hurts me to say this, it doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems to be getting worse. My condolences to the Metcalf family. To Carmelo Anthony's family, I wish them the best. I wish them justice and that the truth comes out. When I was in school, I was in high school at the time, I knew someone who carried a knife to school, who brought a knife to school. And this person did it only because she was afraid. She was being bullied by a group of girls. She told her parents. Her parents didn't take it seriously enough. She tried to tell teachers, faculty. No one did anything. Until one day, since no one listened to her, she decided to take matters into her own hands and bring a knife to school. She ended up getting sent to an alternative school for that. She didn't use the knife, but she showed the knife. And this happened right off of school grounds, not too far from school. But she was kicked out of school for a while for that. And it wasn't because she was causing trouble or she wanted to hurt someone. She was concerned about her own safety. So, parents, it's very important that you listen to your children. Just because they're children does not mean that they're oblivious to life, clueless. What if this story did have a lot to do with race? Maybe they saw Carmelo Anthony as a soft target. I don't know. When I was in school, I was in junior high, there was a student named Joe. Joe was picking on me a lot, and I had a mechanical pencil that I spent about $7 on, which seemed like a lot of money to me at the time. It was the Pentel mechanical pencils, a black one, which I don't think they make anymore. But anyway, he asked if he could borrow my pencil. So I gave it to him and I asked for it back. He refused to give it back to me. So what did I do? I told the teacher. The teacher made him give it back to me. And after she walked away, he told me, "Okay, for telling on me, I'm going to hit you in the mouth after class." Well, after class that day, it was home ec actually. Everyone left and I didn't want to leave the class. My teacher asked me, "What's the matter? Why aren't you going off to your next class?" I didn't say anything. I was just waiting for him to leave. He finally left, but I found out from a friend of mine that the same student, the same kid, Joe, was picking on him a year before. And my friend and I, we were both around the same size. But I noticed that he would go after softer targets. I wasn't someone who was known for fighting or being an aggressive child. That was not me at all. And my friend told me that Joe was bothering him a year before. And I told him, I recently had similar problems with Joe. He was bothering me too. And he even threatened to hit me. So later on that year, we had our new classes, and I was walking home because Joe lived a few streets away from me, a couple streets away, a couple of blocks. And he would often ride his bike, sometimes walk to school, like I did. As I was walking home that day, I'm about 13 years old at the time, I see Joe coming on a bike, and I had nowhere to run. It was on a busy street, so there were other people who could see what was going on. So Joe approached me and started threatening me, saying that he was going to really let me have it. So I couldn't do anything. I ran away. I was yelling, "Leave me alone, leave me alone." And he left me alone. And he asked me, "So what elective do you have this semester?" I said, "Oh, I'm taking computers." And he rode away and left me alone, and he didn't bother me after that. Other people would have seen if he had just started fighting me and beating me up, but he left me alone. About 10 or more years later, I was in town visiting. I was riding my bike and I stopped by the convenience store for something. And guess who walked in? In walks Joe, shirt off, barefoot, and there was a big Confederate flag on his truck. And he had a shaved head, but I knew it was him. I didn't say anything to him. I don't think he noticed me or saw me. But I knew then for a fact it confirmed what Joe was really about. I never saw Joe again after that. In fact, he no longer lives in that house where he used to live back in the 90s. So let's give it time, and my advice to all of you, show the families respect. These are two kids who are involved. It's sad that one had to lose their life. But if one standard applies to people like George Zimmerman, Kyle Rittenhouse, Daniel Penny, shouldn't the same, isn't that the new standard now? Shouldn't the same apply to Carmelo Anthony? Well, should it? So more will continue to come out about this case, and we'll find out more. I don't want to make this racial, but it is what it is now. It's become racial, it's become political. So let me know what your thoughts are, if you'd like to share. I'm not here to place blame on anyone, but I'm just sharing my opinion and what I believe about this story. Also, if you'd like to support me, I did set up a GoFundMe. I was recently fired from my job due to discrimination, and I'm trying to raise money because I'm probably going to need to hire an attorney to take this to court. It's unfortunate, but this is where I'm at right now. So if you'd like to support me, I do have my GoFundMe page. I will leave a link to it in the description of this video. Thank you for your support, everyone. Please stay safe. Our time is now. Let's change the world. Thank you for watching.